Hello, this is Elaine Sugar, award-winning children's program facilitator and overall supporter of children's dreams. Welcome to the Empower Teen Self-Esteem podcast. We bring you ideas and resources that help teens shine and help ease parents' minds.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. I'm Elena Perella. I'm a personal coach, and I am the founder of Sentido Life Coaching. Today, I'm filling in for Elaine Sugar. The guest of today is Antoine Thompson. He is a coach, mentor, founder, and executive director of a nonprofit youth coaching and mentoring organization. Your organization, Antoine, is dedicated to coaching and mentoring the leaders of tomorrow, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so welcome to the show, and please tell us everything about you and about your mission.
Ooh, yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Elena. I really appreciate it. And I will just start off by saying, once I start talking about my mission, it's hard to stop me because I really love what I do, and knowing the impact that I have on young people's lives just inspire me to continue to do my work. I'll start by sharing what really has me where I am today and why I do work with kids and why it's so important to me. My upbringing, which I was really not really connected in the dots for a long time, but my mom had my older brother and myself with our biological father, and he was not a very good father to us and not a very good husband to my mom, and she was smart enough to get us out of that situation. And the man that she met after that changed all of our lives. And it is why I'm sitting here talking to you today. My father was served 30 years in the United States Marine Corps. He had served in Vietnam twice, and unfortunately we lost him to leukemia in 1996. But most importantly, what he did was he adopted my older brother and I. When first thing he did after he married our mom was he adopted us and raised us as his biological sons, and it really transformed our lives. And after he passed, I searched long and deep inside myself to find a way to honor him and to remember him and to carry on that legacy. And that's what the nonprofit is named after. It's named after my late father. It's JLT, and his name was Joe Louis Thompson. So the nonprofit is JLT Fieldhouse. And like you mentioned earlier, it's about coaching and mentoring the leaders of tomorrow through sport, because we know that sports and life emulate one another, because everything you do in sports carries over to what you do in real life. And then when the pandemic hit a couple of years ago, it shut down all of our programming for the nonprofit. And of course, when you lose everything in one split second, it really takes you by surprise. But for me, it was an opportunity to reflect and go, hey, I still can do more, even though we don't have the nonprofit. So I started Coach T's Corner, which is an online mentoring academy that's designed to educate, support, and inspire preteens and teens through personal growth and development, to empower them to use those tools to be prosperous in their futures.
Beautiful. Wow. It's a painful story, and you managed to create something beautiful out of it.
Yes, honestly, a lot of people, like what you just said, I've never really viewed it like that. But then when I reflect on it, I'm like, it is a kind of cool thing and a great thing to be able to do something so positive, but realize what inspired you to do it. You don't really think twice about it, but then you realize it is a pretty special story.
Yeah, yeah, it is indeed. And so you do it online, but also
In person.
in person.
Yes. Yes, the nonprofit active programming are all in person. We do one-on-one group session clinics, if you will, summer camp, summer league, and then we do special events throughout the year. And the Coach T's Corner is all virtual. at this point. But obviously, as it grows, the goal is for me to get out and speak within organizations like here in the States, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Clubs, middle schools and high schools, and to be really in front of kids and for them to really see. For me, it's about being authentic and being real. And it's better to do that in person than it is to do it virtually, because it's how you that personal connection is really important to me. And it is one of the reasons that I think I've been successful with it, is because kids are able to see my true personality, and that I'm not trying to be a parent to them. I'm just trying to be a guide for them and to help them through whatever issues they might be having, and then to help them to transition from preteens to teens, and prepare them to be adults.
And how do they respond? Because, well, that age is a very difficult period in the life of a person.
Yes, it is. And for me, one of the best things and what makes it so special is, yes, every child is different. And that's what makes my job so fun, is because I get to find out about myself through the process, because I become a better coach, because every child's personality is different. Some kids you can tell right away what their issues are, what you need to help them with. And other kids are more reserved, and they don't really share as much. And then it allows me to go, hey, I have to work a little bit more, which I'm fine. I'm a very patient person. And once I build that rapport with them, they always, I can honestly say I've had 100% success rate, because I'm patient. And once they realize that I'm patient and I'm willing to listen to them and get to know them, then they open up more and they share more with me. And that's the joy of being able to do this.
And I think that this is a great advice for parents, right? To be patient and listen.
Oh, absolutely. The second part of that, the two steps for me is listen, number one. The second one is not to judge them based on what they say, because I'm not in their shoes. I'm not going through what they're going through. So I honestly can't give a true perspective. But listening to them and then being able to go, okay, sometimes that's all they want you to do is listen. They don't really want you to give advice. They don't want you to tell them what to do. They just want you to listen.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. And it's not always easy for a parent to do that. But once
No,
you
it's
take the
not.
time, then it opens the door. It's like a bridge that you are building toward them, between you two, actually. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, Elena, this happened today. As a matter of fact, there's a young man that I've been working with for probably 4 years, and he's now in high school. But I haven't talked to him or seen him in about 2 months. And when I don't see the kids or don't hear from them, I always reach out just to say, hey, just wanted to reach out, say hello, hope you're doing well. And I got a response back from him this morning. And it was really nice to hear from him, but it was the honesty in which the way he responded. It wasn't just, hey, how are you? He apologized for not reaching out, but he said that, he was thinking about myself and the other kids in the program. And by me just doing that lets him know that I still care, even though he's not present. And the response for me, I read between the lines, the response from him and knowing him, that meant a lot to him. And for me, that's really important, to stay connected with kids, because like I said earlier, we don't know what they're going through. And sometimes they just need to be acknowledged.
It's true. Yes. They just need to be acknowledged. Yes. So important. And you help them. I was reading on your website. Um, there is one sentence that I really love. And you say on your website, nothing brings more satisfaction than seeing the heart, determination, and commitment of these young people. I love it.
Yes. Well, that is, I got goosebumps here just hearing you read that, because it really is something that inspires me. And I can actually share a quick story with you that really proves that. I also coach, this is my 37th year of coaching basketball, and I coach at a private school, and I coach 7th and 8th grade boys. And the team I coached this year went undefeated. We won all of our games. We won a championship. But what's interesting is this was not the best talented team that I've coached at this school, but it was the most accomplished team, because these young men recognized that they didn't have that elite talent, So they had to rely on each other to be successful. And it was an absolute joy to watch them be so successful on the court. And when I go back and I've watched clips and videos of the games afterwards, and I'm still amazed at watching them, just execute flawlessly, counting on each other, being unselfish, communicating with each other, holding each other accountable, and being personally responsible for the team's success as well as their own individual success. And as a coach, you cannot be prouder of seeing that kind of result.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, because you see them working together and expressing reciprocal consideration, so helping each other toward the same goal.
Yes, absolutely. And there's an incident this year. This will for anybody that's listening or watching, this is one of those stories that I will tell for the rest of my days. And this has to do with personal accountability. And this is the same group of 7th and 8th grade boys. Our team motto was team before self. The team is always comes before the individual because that's how we're going to be successful. And we had an incident where one of the players broke a team rule. And two of the older 8th graders came to me and told me that one of their teammates had broken the team rule. And I guess they thought I was going to go, oh, well, this is what we're going to do. I asked them, I said, what do you think we should do about this? And Elena, without hesitation, they said, make him sit in the bleachers and watch us run. So they were willing to take punishment for his mistake, accountability. So I was surprised by it, but obviously I was really excited the fact that they accepted that responsibility. And afterwards, I had the guys run, and I said, if you guys want to apply any other disciplinary action, that's going to be a team decision. And after I had them run, they all got together, they had a team meeting, and then they came to me after about 5 minutes. And one of the 8th graders said, Coach, we talked about it, we voted, and it was unanimous. And they decided for our next game that this young man that broke the rule would not play, nor would he get to dress out with the rest of the team. So he had to sit and watch his teammates play. Well, of course, that's a team decision, but we got to look at what was the impact on the young man that broke the rule. And I asked him, I said, do you understand what's just happened here in this whole process? And he said, yes, sir, I do. And he said he knows that he has to go home and tell his parents why he will not be playing in the next game because he broke a team rule. I never heard a complaint from a parent. I never heard another complaint about the young man because once that decision was made and that game was over, it was forgotten. Lesson learned, and we moved forward. And it did not affect anything within the team chemistry. And we proceeded to continue to win games. And the moral for me and what people take away, young people have the ability and the willingness to make decisions for themselves that are in the best interest of themselves. And that is why I enjoy doing what I do, because you're able to make that kind of impact and teach them at an early age.
Yeah, I totally agree. Wow, that's beautiful, very, very insightful. And parents, are they involved in what you do with their children?
Children. Oh, absolutely. With as it relates to the nonprofit, every child that comes in, a parent reaches out and wants me to work with their child, son or daughter. I always engage parents in the beginning for a couple of reasons. Number one is I want to hear from them. What are your expectations from me as a coach? What do you want me to help your son or daughter with? Because I always want to hear from the child too. What do they want to accomplish through this process? Because it's a team effort. And I always assess when I'm working with kids, I assess them in the beginning to see where they are. So now we have the parents, the child, and myself are all part of the process. And then when we're all part of the process, there's a higher success rate. But the best part about it is, I would say 9 times out of 10, when parents come back to me to give me feedback on what I've done with their son or daughter, it has nothing to do with what I've done with them in regards to their basketball. It always comes back to what I've done to improve their self-esteem and their confidence. And that was my initial goal in the beginning. but I let them kind of think it's about basketball, but it really isn't.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And how one can achieve those goals, enhance self-confidence, self-esteem through sport. It's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
like
really is.
yeah, life lessons actually.
Oh, most definitely. Every part of it's like life lessons. And the examples I give the kids whenever I'm teaching something, I don't just teach them and say, well, this is how you do it because I said, also add because later in life, you're going to be faced with the same situation in a different setting. And how will you respond then? So how you respond now is how you're going to respond later. And they always really understand that I'm teaching them more than uh, just the sport itself. And I'll just add the other part where when you're asking about how parents are involved, I have a television miniseries, a 13 episode TV miniseries. And in this miniseries, I interview a lot of educators, business owners, all those people that have ability to positively impact young people. Well, there's an episode that's coming up in about a couple of weeks. It's actually a group of the kids that I work with. We sat around in a group setting and just had a Q&A and allowed them to open up, share their, their feelings and feedback. And they were very honest, and that's what I love about them, because we built that kind of relationship where they're going to tell, not just say what I want to hear, but what they need to say. And it's an episode that I think a lot of people are going to find out, young people are smarter than we give them credit for. And they have the willingness and, like I said before, the ability to be leaders, but we need to allow them to be leaders and allow them to grow in the leadership roles that they see for themselves, and not always steer them in a direction that we want them to go, because we don't take the time to find out where they want to go.
That's true. Yes. Often parents think that they know better than their children. And okay, sometimes they do, but other times they don't. I mean, and it would be better to listen to their children, to observe them, to try to understand what they really care about, so that they can guide them towards their own goals and their own
Right.
achievements. Yeah.
Yes. There was one of the questions to your point with that we talked about the pandemic and how it was affecting
Mhm.
kids with being at home and virtually learning, and then later it was part in school and part home, so you had the hybrid virtual and in person, and the impact that it had on their scheduling, not just the scheduling part, but the interactions. When you're used to waking up and going to see your friends every day, 5 days a week, interacting with your classmates and your peers, your teammates 5 days a week, and then all of a sudden you don't get to see them at all for months, and then you get to see them 2 days a week, and then it breaks up a schedule that affects them emotionally, as it affects them physically. And those were things that they share with me, and I knew it, but not to the depths that they shared with me. And one of the young men shared that his parents didn't understand how much it was impacting them. And he told me, goes, you're not in my shoes. You don't know what I'm going through. And I thought that spoke volumes to also a level of frustration from kids that they're not being listened to.
Yes, it's true. They got affected a lot by that. Yeah, more than
Yes,
their parents imagined. Yeah, it's different
yes,
for an adult. It's different than for a teenager or a preteen. Yeah, it's a different reality, internal reality, and different feelings and emotions. Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Indeed.
And I was thinking, these these children are going to be the leaders of the future. So they are going to be managers, leaders, founders, business owners. And do they have um, an idea of this? Do you talk with them about their future, what they want to do? Do they have dreams that they share with you?
I do ask them, and a lot of them are unsure. And I say, you're young, you have plenty of time. There are a couple people that really know what they want to do. I have a one young lady, she's a junior in high school, and she's probably been on 7 college campuses looking at colleges to go to. And what's interesting about that is I know her and her personality. She would fit in anywhere because she's just a great young lady. And but she said, I want to go to a smaller school, more intimate setting. And for me, that's a sign of kids knowing what they want. You know, at first you look at the whole scheme like, oh, college, go to big school, but it's about what she needs and what she wants. That's going to be most beneficial for her learning experience and her social interaction with people. You know, get too many people, you know, it kind of gets you spread out too much, and she wants to be in a small, intimate place. But back to your original question about do they know what they want to do? I know what a lot of them could potentially do, and that's what I share with them. And is always whatever it is you want to do. Uh, but my biggest concern with a lot of it is social media and I'd say the misconception that everybody can be successful being a internet entrepreneur or a virtual entrepreneur, and not forgetting that we're always going to need doctors, we're always going to need lawyers, we're always going to need engineers, we're always going to need people in the food service industry, we're always going to need things of that nature. And I always remind them, you know, always keeping your options open. Find out, I talk about the like, love, and passion. We always like stuff and then we don't like it. We love something, then we don't love it. But when you find something that you're passionate about, that's what you think about when you wake up. That's what you think about all day. That's what you think about when you go to bed. And I'm a perfect example of the definition of passion, because what I do is what I think about when I wake up, and I think about it and I work on it all day and I go to bed thinking about it. That's a message I always share. Find out what you're passionate about, follow that. And the other biggest part is not allowing outside influences to dictate what you do or what you want to do. And peer pressure is one of the other big factors. And a lot of it is kids' unwillingness to step outside the box because they don't want to be viewed differently. And I think in this episode I mentioned with the kids, one young lady pointed that out to me. She explained that when she started as a freshman, all her friends, they all took the same classes because they wanted to be together. Well, 2 years later, they realized, oh my gosh, I didn't need to take those classes. I want to do this. So they realized, hey, you know what? My future is more important than the friendship aspect of school. I can still be friends with people, but I don't have to take the same classes just to be around them. Because once we leave school, I'm on my own. You're going your way and I'm going mine. And I have to make sure that I lay groundwork that's going to be both advantageous and beneficial to my future.
Yes, thank you for sharing this. It's very, very important. I think that as far as I am hearing from the outside world, there is this kind of pressure or tendency that with doing something online, the internet, and forgetting other professions like doctors, for example, lawyers, that you are going to make money easily, faster, you know, and this could become a problem for many teenagers because they put money first and then they forget that they could have a mission in life. And
Right.
yeah, it would be a shame if they focus only on the material aspects of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a program that I have. It's called, you probably saw it on the website, the Sea of Success.
Yes.
Well, you know, what's interesting about that, Elena, is that started when I started coaching 30 some years ago. I just didn't know it. And it came to fruition because I actually realized that I was reciting those 3 letters, the C being an acronym for simplicity, effort, and attitude. So as I'm coaching, I'm like, you know, don't complicate the process, keep everything simple, because you'll achieve your goal faster if you just follow the simple steps. And the second part is the effort. You know, regardless of what it is you decide to do, if that's that passionate thing that you like, you know, give it 100%, effort, because you will achieve that goal a lot faster and more successfully. And then the last one, which is attitude, to me is the most important one, because you can't keep it simple and you can't apply effort if you don't have the right attitude. So attitude is, to me, is the foundation of that process. So the Sea of Success program is really basically applying those three components to all the soft skill areas: accountability, responsibility, goal setting, conflict transformation, communication, time management. The list goes on. But applying those three components is the key to the success for preteens and teens, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. And you are right. I totally agree. And yeah, about attitude. If you don't have that, then it becomes very difficult to achieve your goals. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And simplicity. Yeah, simplicity and effort. Yeah, because we tend to make things difficult, right?
Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, yeah, we really do. And I think it's practice what we preach. And for me, this is helped me also be a better coach, because if I'm going to teach something, I better live what I'm teaching, because number one, it makes it easier because I'm living it that way. Number two, I don't want to be viewed as a hypocrite. I don't want to be do as I say, not as I do type of coach. So I do indeed practice what I preach, and I think it makes it easier to get the message across.
Yes, and in this way, you are showing them uh, how to be authentic.
Yes, absolutely. 100% correct.
And authenticity is also something that, in my opinion, is very needed, very, very needed. Yeah.
And I think that's so true, because of all of the possibilities to sidetrack kids are out there. All of the distractions are there. If it's not peers, it's parents, it's coaches, it's whomever, there's always somebody nudging them in certain ways. And we both know that they're in their most impressionable ages when they're preteens and teens. And, the damage could be done, or the successful seeds could be planted. And so these are most formidable years for these kids, and having them around the right individuals, the right leadership, the right mentorship, I think it's important. And I think the other part I would want to add, Elena, is that the job that I do, and is for parents to hear, I in no way am trying to be their replacement. Uh, like when it says educate and support and inspire, the education part is to educate the kids. The inspire part is to educate the kids. The support part is for parents and educators, because if they're able to learn the skills that I'm teaching them, they will make them better kids to the parents, and they'll make them better students to the teachers. And that's how we collectively get these kids to where they want to go. I can't do it on my own, but I can be a support to parents, and I can be a support to the teachers that are responsible for teaching them and preparing them to be the leaders of tomorrow.
Yes, I love this. Yes, it feels, as you describe it, it feels indeed as an extra support that can help everybody transition these difficult periods in the best way possible, parents and children. Yeah, and prepare them for the future, for their
Yes,
own future, what they will choose in life. Yeah.
most definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And tell us where they can find you, where they
Yes, you get
contact
on a
you.
plane, and you fly to North Carolina. Or if you're, no, I was kidding.
Why
You
not?
can, right. So my website is coachtcorner.com. Our nonprofit is jltfieldhouse.org. And you can always email me at coacht@coachtcorner.com. And I'm also on Instagram, which is coacht's_corner, Facebook, and also have a private Facebook group, Developing Tomorrow's Leaders, and also have a podcast, which by the same name, Developing Tomorrow's Leaders. And I believe that is everything.
Wow.
And if anything I can do, I'm always here and would love to help any parent, educator, or student in any way that I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, did you listen? You can contact Antoine and to understand better what he does, although it was very, very clear. And I invite you to do it so that you can help your children better. And this was our episode for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Elena Perella, founder of Sentido Life Coaching, filling in for Elaine Sugar. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Please follow Kids More Sugar on social media. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel to show that you support this content. And you can visit our website at kidsmoresugar.com to learn more about our free online kids program. Thank you.